Hello world. I hope you can all hear me. I'm sorry for being extremely late, but I was on fantasy and science fiction con, and then I needed to visit my friend to give her the stuff I bought for her. So I am now late for about 40 minutes. As I promised you, I will have this podcast or stream every Saturday at around 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock European Central Time. And I hope I can do this regularly because, as some of you know, my biggest dream for about 10 or more years is to become a YouTuber or influencer, but because my life is extremely busy, I am busy with work and other things, I cannot do this really often, and it would require for me to either have a team who would help me to edit and write things, or I would need to like give up on my job or anything else because it requires a lot of work. And yeah, so basically this is my start of a journey to be a YouTuber or influencer or whatever you want to call it. So today, as you chose in my poll, we are going to talk about psychology in anime. First of all, my face won't be revealed because I believe that my words are enough, and so I will put all of my energy in words rather in how I appear or what I'm doing on the video. So every time I will have a plushie or another object which will be filmed instead of my face. So today we have a plushie which I bought on today's convention, and this plushie was uh, was sold by a company called Aktivni Odklop. DO. It's basically a one company in Slovenia, which apparently is selling lots of merch plushes and other things. So I will film this plushie for the whole time, and uh, you won't be able to see my face, only my voice. And I hope I hope you can hear my voice. You will might hear some other sounds because I'm filming uh, in my room. Basically, I don't have time to set up a room or something else to tell you about things I want to tell you, because I believe that many things can be told without any preparations, and my goal is to talk about certain things to many people and help them as much as I can. But today we won't be talking about me, but we will be talking about psychology in anime. As you may not notice, my blog and my future YouTube or other channel is called Psychology of Anime. This is because as a psychologist, I noticed that most of psychological themes are presented in anime rather in other media or other content. So I started my journey with analyzing anime for local anime magazine called Magnet, in which I basically read or watch Japanese popular culture such as manga and anime and analyze it. I analyze it with different theories, and I develop some kind of plan how to actually analyze anime to uh, answer all of the questions readers might have. And with that, my name was created. It is also, because I'm also writing short stories, it is also the name of the most popular YouTube channel in one of my science fiction stories. That YouTube channel has a psychologist who is helping other people through anime and other popular culture, and this is basically my goal, to help people through the popular culture such as anime, movies, books, memes, and other popular culture. So but my the center of this blog is of course anime. So today we are talking about that. So if you have any questions, you can also write them in the comments and I will try my best to answer them. So why is there so many psychological themes in anime? First of all, you need to know how Japan and Japanese culture is working. Basically, their whole idea of the culture is to be as one, be similar to one, and to help each other as much as you can. So their idea of ideal society is that everyone is equal and everyone is trying their best to help others and not to harm others. So you can imagine that there can be lots of pressure, and one individuality can be erased or is missing. So they have lots of uniforms, they have lots of rules, and everyone is thinking how they can behave to uh, to please others, to help others. And Japan is also one country which is not really good at helping people with mental disorders and other mental problems. And psychology in Japan, from what I know, is not really similar to what we have on West. If you noticed in many anime and other popular cultures and in general, their theories are really old, like they have Freud and Jung and theories which are really old and they are not really good and don't apply uh, anymore. So basically, they don't have a proper psychological, could I say, they don't use psychology as we are. Basically, if you have mental disorder, you can go to a doctor, not a psychologist, and basically they will treat you with pills or something else. And from videos I'm watching and sharing with all of you, I can see that many volunteers are trying to help them, but they don't have proper knowledge. So if you are shut in, for example, basically if you are afraid to go outside or have depression and don't go outside because of that, you don't really get help, and either you help yourself or someone else volunteers to help you. So psychology in Japan in general is not really well developed and the theories are really old, and other theories which would be really helpful are either made with help of common people, not scientists itself. Of course, things are getting better, like in every country, but still, in general, many are reporting they are feeling depressed or have suicidal thoughts and so go on and don't get proper help because mental disorder there can be a sign of weakness and laziness and is not seen as disorder or, like psychiatrists or doctors would say, illness. Um, because of that, I believe all the pain which comes from mental disorders is portrayed in anime. And many people who are suffering from it are creating art. one example is, which I also shared with you, about subculture called Yami Kawaii, which can also be similar to our emo subculture, which was popular about 10 years ago. So basically, that there are artists who are like drawing comic books about their disorders, and Yami Kawaii is one of subcultures in which, of course, artists and other people are trying to help themselves through art. And because Japan is like that, because they're all working hard, there is lots of pressure, and many times they don't recognize disorders. They think they're like a sign of laziness or something else. That uh, disorders are portrayed in anime because you have to talk about them, and if you cannot talk about your problems and your pain and everything else, you need to put that somewhere else. And some of them are putting that into anime, and if you're watching anime, they have lots of psychology and other problems like suicide, depression, bullying. So they're all the problems Japan currently has, and is not being able to solve them because they don't have a proper support system, and the the thought of mental disorder as being something which can be in every human regardless if they're lazy or not is not present there. So many anime has that kind of subject. The problem is that many disorders are portrayed wrongly with older theories, or that sometimes the artist itself don't really um, don't really put psychological themes in anime, but they are seen like they are like writing stories, and I can see the psychology in the background, but didn't put that on purpose. Either they were doing that automatically, or they're copying like different themes from different psychological movies or something. And when we talk about psychology in anime, if you come across an anime which has tag psychological, they're mostly really dramatic. They mostly talk about suicide, bullying, crime, and basically the negative side of it. And many times I'm watching anime and then I check tags, I see it's psychological, and I'm like, oh, I knew that because it is really dark anime. So many psychological themes are seen in seinen, which is, or josei, which are two genres for older men and women, basically for adults. And in shonen, which is in shoujo, which is like for younger viewers and readers, then the psychology is not the main topic, but it can be seen if you have really good eye and you know about psychology. So many times when I'm watching anime, I can see the psychological side, but others cannot, because they are concentrating on other things and they also don't understand how psychology work, maybe because they're not professionals in that field. So psychology is really present, and sometimes I'm wondering if the authors know about psychology, or they're like copying what they're seeing outside the world. You know, if they know someone who committed suicide, they can easily describe the problems, or better, or they automatically do that, or they don't even realize that what they're writing is psychology. um, One case of it is, for example, um, Dr. Stone, which I currently really love. In it, psychology is kind of represented as a joke and basically a magical tool, because the psychologist in it is basically mentalist, meaning he's using psychology knowledge for making magical tricks. Um, and Senko, the main character, is not really into it and thinks that that's really boring or useless and so go on. But behind it, Senko is actually using lots of psychology, meaning he's trying to understand others, what they like, and how to, I will use really harsh word, but basically how to manipulate them and invite them into the science kingdom. And I think the sometimes authors don't realize that everything they characters do and disconnected to other people on themselves, that can be interpreted, that can be explained through psychology. So sometimes um, people look at me like I'm making up things, but this is what I see with my psychological eyes. But if I see Dr. Stone with my normal eyes, it is basically an anime which represents science and a boy who is using science, and science is of course chemistry and physics and astronomy, and that's it. So yeah, this is one aspect of psychology in anime. But main topics are suicide, really harsh topic, because in Japan there is a high suicide rate, and one of the most important works about suicide is Orange, which was made into anime, but there is also manga, and this is talking about suicide and how the friends of a person who later becomes victim of suicide are trying to help that person on their own. Um, and then suicide is represented in many, many, many things. Then another thing is depression and maybe traumatic events. My most favorite and still the best psychological manga and anime is Sangatsu no Lion, or Lion. I forgot how to say it in English. Um, but yeah, it is dealing with traumatic effects, PTSD, and the main character is suffering from trauma because he lost his family, and the new foster family wasn't really, it was kind to him, but they put lots of pressure for him to become the best shogi player. Shogi is Japanese chess, and slowly he fall into depression and he has lots of anxiety and so go on. And when I was watching and analyzing that anime for article, I was impressed because every symptom that main character had was from my notebooks and my notes from college. So I was really surprised. Another one really good is Silent Voice. I also analyze it, and it is talking about bullying in Japan, especially in school, and about deaf community, and it is also really good, and it is also dealing with suicide and depression and so go on. Um, but overall, many manga and anime have that kind of things. But what I'm trying to do is not only analyze psychological anime, which, like I said, mostly have negative side of psychology, but also positive sides. And I'm, for example, one of analysis I recently did is for Watakoi, or in English, Love is Hard for Otaku. Mm, in it, it is not psychological manga and anime, but in it you can see what benefits it has, what benefits can bring to you if you are if you're otaku, what are pluses? Of course, they're talking about negative sides, but more than that, they're talking about the good sides. And otaku, I see otakus and others who like anime, like a subculture which has many problems, but also you can gain a lot by watching anime and reading manga and so go on. So that's one plus. And I don't know if you have any anime or manga I might know. I can also like tell you what psychological things are in it. Um, but yeah, for example, one anime which really surprised one of my followers or Anime Planet is um, it's anime about little animals. I think it is called How to Keep Up the Mommy or something. How to um, because it is talking about a boy. It is talking, yeah, how to keep a mommy. So basically, this anime is not psychological, but I really saw it as psychological because those main characters had problems, and then some magical animals and creatures appeared, and they actually helped them to overcome their problems. Either it was fear of something, or um, they wanted to be more confident or want to overcome something. And I remember one of my followers saying, "Oh, come on, this is just an anime with cute animals. How did you analyze it like that?" And this is the, I don't know if it is a gift or what I do or as a professional, but when I'm watching anime casually, I just watch like scenes and story. But when I'm actually in analyzing mode, I can see beyond the anime, just little details. And sometimes the author didn't want to write or show that details, or they just didn't concentrate on them. But I can see how I can turn a simple anime into something that can teach people. Okay, we have psychological anime which are already teaching people, but how I can turn other anime into psychological and connect them with psychological things and then teach people. Because nowadays, if we are talking to people about psychology and problems and feelings, they are like either bored because psychology is in all of us, we all know feelings, we all know how to behave and so go on, but we also need to connect it with like researches and objective information. That's why I'm always writing on my blogs that sometimes it is subjective opinion, or I don't have didn't read any of research. um, so I'm trying to connect anime and other popular culture to teach more people about it because they're easily motivated. I think it is easier to talk about suicide depression through the film and movie and stories or personal experience if someone has it, rather than just like putting down facts. And this is what I would like to do, but like I said, editing and animating my videos would take a lot of time. So for now we have this cute bunny um, and my voice. So if you have any questions, any suggestions, any anime you would like me to either watch or either explain how psychological it is, you can always write it down. Um, so yeah, this is what I do, and mm, how I do it. Basically, it is really difficult, and sometimes if I have time, it can take up to 1, 2, or 3 weeks. You basically need to watch anime once if you haven't already, to get a feeling if it is really psychological or if it has some kind of topics for you to analyze, then you need to watch it the second time really slowly, stop it at certain places, write things down, and try to connect it with knowledge you already know. Basically, if there is a scene when they're talking about anxiety, you stop it, you write it down, and you write maybe notes about anxiety. And then it is good to read articles or notes or read some books and connect your whole analysis with it, and then usually write an article. When it comes to my blogs, however, I don't have that much time. So most of my blogs are basically my opinion, connected with my knowledge of psychology, and I'm trying to read some things as much as I can. Mostly I'm watching videos because, like I said, I have really busy life because I have work and I'm doing other things. But I really want to do that, so that podcast works for now. I always say that even if there is one person who will listen to me and I would help them in any way or teach them something, I will be most happy. If not, I will just like practice my English and my pronunciation of it, and I will have a good time with myself. So, like I said, psychology in anime is really present, but not in all of anime. Mostly they're like darker anime or seinen anime and manga as well. And it also helps when you are watching anime that you know just a bit about Japanese culture, how psychology is portrayed there, what they think about it, how are mental disorders solved, what kind of problems they have, because many problems can be seen in culture and art. Um, like in anime, you can see problems of suicide, depression, peer pressure, society pressure, bullying, bullying on work and in school, loneliness. Um, so you can learn a lot about Japan. The only problem is, like I said, some of their theories are not in anime. I'm talking about an anime, are not really professional, and some of portrays of mental disorders are not. For example, one of them is Chunibyo, which in Japan is often described as being delusional, that you are living in fantasy world. Like in psychology, that's not it delusional. It means that, like in schizophrenia, when you have brain damages, or rather, some parts of brains are developed that way that you are seeing illusions, not really illusions, that you are seeing things that they are not there, and they can scare you most of the time. When Chunibyo, which is like a, well, in Japan they call it a disorder, in which you are in middle or high school in Japan, and you are pretending you are a fantasy character with superpowers. That is not really delusional, because you know that it's not real, but you are playing the role to overcome something. In anime, it is usually portrayed with people who have problems, and I've also seen that happen uh, in real life. So when I was watching the anime Chunibyo, I saw the description of it, and I thought it is not really good, because schizophrenia and things like that and Chunibyo are completely different things. Or like when they're portraying suicide, depression, or other things, they're often, now there is a trend that they are often exaggerating. One of exaggeration anime is, for example, Mahou Shoujo site, in which suicide and things are really strongly represented, and sometimes it's not that harsh. And so basically anime can create stereotypes about certain mental disorders, um, like suicide, that if they're thinking about suicide or if you're talking about them, they will commit suicide for sure, which is not true. Because if someone has a suicide, it is good to talk to them, because then you can see if they are in danger, if they have any needs to commit suicide. You can see um, if they will be able to do it, and why are they trying to do it. Because if they are not talking about it, they will be doing it. And but if you can talk with them, they can like find a solution, or you can help them. um, so in anime, of course, if they're thinking about it, they will be making suicide for sure. Also, it is Suicide Awareness Month, and um, I was analyzing Orange anime and manga for articles, so I know some things about it, and I'm trying to teach people, because nowadays the number of mental disorders and suicides and depression and so go on is really high and is growing. And I believe, because we all, or I don't know if in other countries, but here you have to learn how to help people with first medicate. So basically, if you find unconscious a conscious human, or if you are finding someone who, I don't know, broke their arm or something, but we are forgetting about first psychological aid. So if someone near you has panic attack, what to do? If someone near you wants to commit suicide, what to do? If someone near you have, I don't know, um, anxiety or strange delusions or something, what to do? If someone around you needs help, what to do? Because those are not easiest things to answer. And some anime, I think in anime it is always you need to help, because in Japan it is not like that. They can isolate the person who has mental disorder, they might feel ashamed, parents for example, and usually it's ended with suicide, or yeah, they go to the doctor. And I mean, doctors, psychiatrists can help with pills, of course, but when they're helping with pills, there also needs to be a supportive person which can provide techniques and methods for them to use, because pills are not efficient all the time. And yeah, the idea of psychology is like not to get pills, but some disorders are that bad that you need to get them to learn how to help yourself. So in anime, like in Orange and Silent Voice, someone is helping someone always. In Orange, friends are helping the main character. In Silent Voice, the main character decided to help a girl who he once bullied. In Sangatsu no Lion, the three sisters are helping the main character who is suffering from PTSD and depression. And in a real life, for example, the main character at the end decided to help others, like, and there's a company who is helping others. Yeah, I think that idea is really good and that anime can teach us about it. Like in real life it is sometimes difficult, nowadays even more, because it seems that nobody will help you, or they don't have time or knowledge, they won't even try, because now the world is like that. If you make mistake, you are punished, like, so nobody will even try. And of course it is difficult if you never talked about those things. And so anime is one of things that can help me as psychologist to get through, um, as a kid, to help people and teach them how to help others. So I think like this is the main idea in anime. So like said, if you have any questions, because I don't know what else to say about it. So yeah, the idea is to use anime and other popular culture, especially the culture on the internet, to help people, to teach others how to help them. Okay, so Lila or Lila, I don't know how to say your name, said that I was wondering if kids are influenced by anime more than adults. I think it really depends. But if you if you watch children watching cartoons, they actually are more influenced in a way, because I think that cartoons and material for them is like they easily explain things to them. They have lots of pretty colors. They have things they like. So I think anime also can influence kids and teenagers, adolescents, better, because they don't really have their critical thinking developed yet. Basically, what they see, they they learn and then they can try it. And if you like have a child watch anime or adolescent without any adult or other supportive system around, I believe they were going to teach things from anime and use it in real life. Meaning, if a child watches violent anime, that's why certain anime and other popular cultures have age limits. If they're watching a really scary or violent anime every day without supervision, without someone talking to them that violence is bad, they could like become violent, I believe so, or they could like become extremely scared. It depends on personality and character of the child. So I believe it is more influenced. They also, because it is media which appeals to them for some reason. I'm not really knowledgeable about cartoons and how children are influenced by them. um, then adults, but it also depends on the adult, because many adults, as you can see, are easily influenced by internet and what other people say, and they not all of them have that critical thinking developed, meaning they are reading online that video games cause violence, or are making people violent, and they will believe that if they are don't have experiences about that or critical knowledge. But still, adults can have that resource and have needs to means to like search for answers, while children mostly rely on their parents and what they're seeing. Children and adolescents are like more influenced by models. Um, that's why in my master's thesis I was researching YouTubers and influencers and models. And of course, models can be from anime as well. So I believe they can be influenced, especially if the model is really similar to them. If they don't recognize that reality and imaginary world is not the same thing, if they don't have a proper education and learning values from parents, because if a child is violent and the environment is violent, they will see an anime being violent and they can do things if they can. Especially especially it depends how it is represented, because many times you can notice that uh, such psychological topics, it's for example suicide and depression, are often portrayed in many culture and many media as popular media as no, they're making jokes about it. And if they're making jokes about it and a child learns that, they can behave that way, like joking about people and suicide and so on. So I think they are influenced more on general, basically because critical thinking is not developed yet. They don't know have lots of experience, lots of information, and then don't have they don't know how to search for them. So I believe so. So when they are creating anime and other things, they need to be really careful when it comes to children, because children, like they said, they are like sponges, they observe everything. But then it depends what they will do with that. So I'm really happy that anime for children such as Pokemon, Precua and others have many psychological themes as well. In Precua there are many themes like friendship, family, giving up and trying on, bullying as well. Um, Also that you can be defeated in life. They won't You won't be always winning, There will be lots of difficult times and so go on. And if I'm watching this cartoons or other animation in Western world, it is more like about comedy and making children laugh. Like with anime, they I guess they're trying to show children about it, and I don't know. For example, Precua is really good anime for adults because it is talking about things we've forgotten, about friendship, family. Don't give up, always try, have at least one friend. They will support you, and these are things adults are many times forgetting. Like I think children are watching things for fun, like we adults are actually learning, but children are like absorbing everything. So it really depends, I would say yes and no. We psychologists say depends on every answer, of every question. Why? Because we like to see both sides, and because we are seeing both sides, we don't really have a proper answer. And also because everyone is different and every possible scene situation is different. we are so unique, and psychology is really difficult because in chemistry you mix two things and it becomes the third one, but in psychology if you are mixing two things it can become a thousand things, and it is really difficult. Yeah, Naruto is such a good example. And if you're looking at it, it's talking about bullying, and it is talking about depression and loneliness. But because it is shown in anime, that things are like put away. Mostly, they're not talking mostly about depression and those things, but they're concentrating on action and story and feelings, and that the viewers can be more immersed into it. While in things like Orange, they're actually talking about okay, suicides. That is a problem. How to help. I think many anime can actually could actually explain some things more rather than just throw them into the story just because of the story. I really like there are lots of educational animes such as there is an anime about blood types. Well, the comic, the manga is from Korea, but there is an anime, and in Japan they also really like and adore that theory about blood types. That's, for example, psychological. It is really good explanation. It is actually one in Japan. There are a few psychological anime which are not scientifical, but Japanese and others are following them like they are the best theorists in the world. One of them is about blood types, and the second one is about Chunibyo. Um, those two were created by someone who was interested in it, but was not a psychologist, and in that era it was really popular. Basically, it's and common psychology of common people, which is getting to the surface more and more. And this is a problem because if I talk about psychological things, not many are taking me seriously, even though I have master's degree and I have experiences on many different fields. And this is also one thing I want to learn, that if you are finding some information about psychology, check them twice and the third times and so on, because not many are true. Many psychological theories that are flowing around were like created by writers or movie makers, or like people who were obsessed with certain field and wanted to explain them without having a research. So yeah. Um, so I believe that anime can be really impressed, but it depends. Because we also have children who are not interested in anime and cartoons, you know. You may find it impossible, but there are children like that. And children who don't like playing, they would rather be reading. So it's a really good question, and sometimes I don't have answers to all of questions, but I'm trying my best to explain them with knowledge I have. I like to learn, so if any of you ever has some theory or anime or anything connected to psychology and popular culture like memes, you can always share them on my page. Like I know one of you is sharing, and I'm really grateful for that. Um, it helps to learn more and to discuss more. I like to discuss things. So if you have any other questions. It is you cannot see the bunny anymore because it is really dark at the moment. Oh, maybe you can see them a bit. Um, well, my voice is more important, I think. So yeah, when you see text psychological, you will probably watch an anime with lots of drama in it, and fighting and suicide and depression mostly, and trauma, torturing, because negative effects sell. Oh, thank you for your support. I'm trying my best to give answers, and you can take as much time as you can. I think I will be here for another 10 minutes or so, um, and then we will see. So while you are writing a question, I can explain what I thought about the newest episode of Dr. Stone. So in newest episode, he's trying to make glass because they're trying to make a medicine. And um, at one point, uh, okay, there is a character who is wearing a pumpkin or some mask which is carved as pumpkin on their head, and I was always like wondering, maybe they are okay. If I speak with words of a common people, maybe they're shy. If I speak as psychology, maybe they have social anxiety or other anxiety. But at the end, they discover that she has problems with eyesight, and because she doesn't see, she needs to squirt her eyes, and when she does that, she looks really like an old lady, and she's embarrassed. And I was like, she said, when I take my mask down off, um, I feel dizziness, and I was like, oh my god, she basically has some panic attacks or something, and she was like, I can't see well, and I was like disappointed. But overall, like, Senku is really really good psychologist as well, I think, because he knows about needs. He saw that she needs glasses, and the first thing he tried to do is make her glasses instead of making science laboratory equipment. And he is also really good at reading people, and he's using psychology without even knowing. So other than that, the he when he was thinking about the past when he was a child, he was really really sad, and the animators did a great job. When I'm watching anime, the other aspect I forgot to tell is feelings. The voice actors are so good that you actually can feel their feelings inside your body or in your soul, basically, and they represent feelings so well. Like when I'm watching a character, I can tell that I can feel things, see when they're sad, happy. You can see that in their eyes. And feelings are one thing really, really important, because feelings sometimes control everything. If you are sad, you won't be motivated. If you're really happy, you will have motivation. If you're really angry, you can hurt someone or you can hurt yourself, and so go on. And anime has such a good presentation of feelings that sometimes I'm like, whoa, you can actually hear the pain from their voice. You can actually fear, feel fear or something. And when you are watching those scenes, um, with all the music and elements, sometimes I'm really scared when watching for characters, or like myself, like even watching a horror anime. While in horror or general, mostly what is scary is like those jump scares and loud noises. While in anime, sometimes I'm scared to my soul because they are um, talking about such problems you don't even have control over them. Like if a monster comes, or I don't know, if a person comes to attack you, if you're good at it, you can attack them back, but if you have fear which is inside you, it is a bit difficult. So I really, really like, I don't know, anime is such a good thing. I am watching like other things, movies, series, reading books. Okay, books are another good thing because you need to be really skilled with words so you can feel them. But with movies and other things, I know some, but anime they are really good at it. I don't know, and I think that's because in Japan, like with all feelings, how they present it and talk about them, they don't really do that. They rather keep it in themselves, and of course they need to get their feelings out somewhere. Either it is in anime or in, I don't know, other activities. So feelings. When I'm analyzing anime, when I'm grading anime, if um subjective, it's when I grade anime from top three, when when I'm talking about subjective and objective ratings, subjective is mostly if I was talking about anime non-stop, if I was listening to their music non-stop, if I couldn't wait to watch for anime. But in objective, I have one rating which is if they tried to um, wake up feelings in me, because I think that's a really difficult thing to do, and a really good anime and art itself needs to bring feelings into people even though they don't usually feel anything or have problems with that. Like it's memorable. It can be really subjective, although it can be argued, you know, because if you are a professional psychologist and you are like training to know your feelings, you can be more objective than usual. Like you can be sad and you can analyze yourself, why are you sad, and where is that sadness coming from, where do you feel it, and so go on. So feelings are a really good aspect of anime. So, wow, it is really dark now that you cannot see that bunny anymore. So, if you have any other questions for me to answer, if not, I will slowly finish this podcast stream and I will see you next Saturday, hopefully at 6 or 5 o'clock. The days are getting shorter and I want to have talk like this for 1 hour or so. So I got a question, is it possible for anime to put someone even more down? Like maybe positive anime could make someone feel worse as they may not have a positive partner. I think that's a really good point and I agree. And it is like social media. You go on social media and you see someone getting their degree, they're having a great job, they're getting married, and so go on. Now, you have more kinds of people. One could be like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy for my friend. She finally did it." But the other could be, "Oh my God, why I don't have life like that?" So because many anime is also positive one, like they're having a great time, they're having many friends, they're having such a good memories. Yeah, that can make someone feel worse. Or for example, Orange. In Orange, you can see that there are friends around that person who is suicidal. But in real life, imagine someone who is suicidal and is watching it and doesn't have anyone, basically anyone who they can trust. I think that could really backfire. But on the other hand, some person could say, okay, so friends are important. I need a friend. Maybe I can find someone. It really depends. But I also noticed that in anime, even though it is a really good story, like positive story, happy story, there is always a moment of really, really um, depressed moment. And I think that once I was reading about anime, and most anime have rather neutral ending or depressed ending, and I don't know if this is true, but I was reading that there's something connected to Buddhism, because in Buddhism, like, I think the main goal is like to leave everything behind you, like material and love and so go on, like to like reach the perfect stage or something. And like the many animes are endings are sad. I actually had the answer for that. Either it is connected to religion, or they have the idea that everything will end, and that, I don't know. I forgot. I really forgot, but I was reading about it. Because I think I have one book about anime. I think I was reading. I was really surprised. Why the anime always, like, or most cases, it has depressed moments. Maybe a reminder that not everything is perfect. I don't know. But yeah, anime can put someone really down, especially if you're cheerful with lots of friends. And of course, if you're really into it and really connected to the anime. So it can be plus and it can be minus. It depends on the person, right? Sadly, many things you need to try to see if it works for you or not. Because we cannot see in the yeah, I'm always telling people around me as psychologists that we cannot see into the future. We cannot read minds. We are humans too. We make mistakes too. Yes, it is expect to us to do things properly, but in psychology it is really difficult because many things don't have an answer yes or no, but like it depends, or maybe, or it depends in some cases. So it is also like this with anime itself. It can be dangerous, if not, and so go on. So if you have any other questions, if not, I will slowly come to conclusions and then end this stream. Also, don't forget about this month as Suicide Awareness Prevention Month, because it is really one of the most um, how can I say, it is one of the biggest problems of today's world. And even if you are not talking about it for whole year, at least now, and but try like to talk about it for whole year. Like now you have the chance to know about it more, what to do, what are the consequences, what are the signals, but through the whole year, be watch around you, check your friends, talk with them, if they are okay. Everyone in the world feels sad and depressed, and also it is common for people to have thoughts about, oh, okay, I will end my life. It is, I don't know, it is like some kind of mechanism, you are fed up with everything, you say I'd rather die, but it is just a thought and it won't affect anyway. But there are people who need help, and they're calling for your attention like that. Please help them. talk to them. You don't need to be professional to like ask them how they are. You can always say, I'm sorry, I don't like have knowledge to help you, but you can check, I don't know, there are lots of telephone numbers, internet numbers, everything, you can reach them. But you can say to them, okay, I can talk and I can listen. Everyone can listen. You cannot. I think the best solution is to be really um, empathic, trying to be friendly and listen, and trying to not to understand them. Of course, some can understand and some not, but just to listen, to be there, and if it's too much, to say so. But to try as best as you can, because if you say one positive word to another, if you listen to one another, maybe you can make a change. Who knows? Maybe a person who is talking to you has such a big problems that they only need one kind word, like hello, a smile. So this is like a month for you to learn about it. I will try to post things about it. I'm watching many videos about that. It is one of topics I'm most interested in because in my life I met lots of people who are suicidal or are still suicidal, and I'm trying to help them. So it is one of fields I feel most comfortable with helping and teaching others. And yeah, like I said, if you have problems, you can always like write me. The best I can do is like talk to you, listen to you, and I'm always saying look for professional help or help around your surroundings, because I'm not professional clinical psychologist, and I don't have all knowledge in the world, so I can do as much as I can. I'm not your psychologist, but I can be there for you as, I don't know, someone who can give support, and so try to do as much as you can. Because like I said in one of my posts, we are all connected. If if someone hurts someone, they will hurt someone else, and suddenly it will all come back like a backfire. So if that's it with the questions, thank you for your questions. And I will see you next week at 6 or 5. I will make a poll about two topics again, and I hope more of you can join. It is sadly such an hour that some of you might be working or sleeping or so on, but I'm trying my best, and I will always leave all these videos on my page, so you can always check it. And yeah, good idea. You can make a list of questions or put them under the poll, so I can answer them on certain topic. And you can also give your opinions about it, and I will read them and so go on. So yeah, I will do this every week, so I hope we will see I will see you next week, and that we will learn maybe something new together. So thank you for watching or joining in, and like always, remember, you all matter. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you all matter. You're all parts on one big chain, and you're really important. If you think you're not important, you're important for me, because with your support I can continue what I do and teach more people. So you do matter. Thank you and see you next time.